Hello, and welcome to Minimum Viable Advice. Today we're going to talk about startup pitching, the type of pitching that you do when you go on stage in a pitching competition or simply talk to investors. And we're going to list 5 reasons of how you can actually kill your pitch that a lot of startups simply leave out. We've been the coach of Cyber Angel that won Slush, so we hope that our advice can be very useful to what you guys are looking for. 1. Ignoring the team. Yes, you put the team at the end of the slide and you think that makes it sound important. But in reality what that does, it gives you absolutely no time to actually talk about your team. Most of you guys and most of the startups out there simply put images and names. And that gives absolutely no feeling about what kind of team you guys are. You don't put any achievements and you don't put any more information about the company and the team. What I would recommend to do instead is to basically list each person and say what's their biggest achievement. Have they got 2 or 3 exits? Have they been working in the industry for 20 years? Have they helped your company to increase revenue by 300% in the past 3 months? 2. Choosing the worst person for the job. You might think that choosing your CEO is the best thing you can do when you do startup pitching. That is not the case. When you go on a stage, you need an actor. You need somebody who's actually good at engaging with the audience, delivering the message, talking to people, and explaining what you're all about. Somebody who's really passionate and can show this. CEOs usually are passionate, but sometimes they're a bit introverted. Sometimes they're more focused on the product. Sometimes they don't speak English very well. Sometimes they just don't like being on the stage. So if you have the best person in your team to actually be present on the stage, choose that person to be on the stage. 3. Relying on slides. All too often the slides are either horribly designed or actually have more information than your pitch itself. And that means that the audience gets distracted. They're looking either at you or the slides and they're confused. They don't know if they should read the wall of text that you've written on your slides or if they should listen to you. The slides should be just a supporting material. Don't use text that's very small. Personally, I like to use images and very strong quotations or graphs that really explain what I'm talking about instead of detracting from what I'm talking about. Number 4. Not knowing your industry or lying. That happens surprisingly often. You basically come there and say some facts, but a lot of the time the investors actually know your industry extremely well. So unless you can back every single word up, don't say anything. For example, you can come and say, we're going to conquer this market and we'll have 4% of the market by 2025. How are you going to do it? What proof do you have that you can do it? How is the market developing? How do you know that you can get 4% of the market? Is that even enough? Is it big enough market? When you do something like that, a lot of questions will come your way. So if you're going to make some sort of a statement, please back it up. Last but not least, and my personal favorite, being like everybody else. Unfortunately, pitching and pitching competitions have become an industry. Everybody goes to these events, everybody pitches a lot, but that means it's also been standardized. You're all supposed to follow the same guidelines, the same principles, speak in the same tone of voice, mention everything in the same order, and sometimes that is really good because it makes it easy for investors to understand where your pitch is going. But I really don't think that Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs went to an investor and said, here's the problem that we're going to have, and here is my solution with this product that I'm going to introduce in 15 or 20 years. No, they didn't know that. Right? So they showed their passion. They were customized. They were really personal. So when you develop your pitch, yes, follow all the advice you have on the internet, but at the same time, add your own spark, add your own creativity. Don't be afraid to shift things around, to put your team first if you think that's a bigger asset, to shift the market to the end if you think you don't want to talk about it too much. Be creative, but at the same time, make sure it's still easy to follow and understand. But most of all, be different and make sure that you stand out. That's how Cyber Angel won Slush. They chose the best person for the job who was not the CEO. She pitched with passion, she talked about the market and explained everything extremely well. You can find the pitch online if you want to check out how they did it. If you like this type of videos, please let us know. Ask your own questions of what you want us to talk about. And if you want to put your pitching skills to test, apply to our pitching competition at the address below. Thank you for listening. See you at the next Minimum Viable Advice and ta-ta!